Vamonos Crystal Palace beating Man City in the FA Cup. Vamonos Bologna beating AC Milan in the Italian in the Coppa Italia. Long time waiting for Bologna, pretty full side. Actually won a silverware inside there. And go ahead Eagles in Netherlands. Vamonos spreading that jack inside there. I think as the season comes to a close, as the season comes to conclusion, I think teams are now using Obajuju to like somewhat get these trophies in their cabinets. Well, I don't know. The big one in it this time will be Man United taking on Spurs. Based on how things have been moving, it looks like it's crazy o'clock for Man United in it. Yeah, Spurs has not won silverware since I can remember. Harry Kane went on to win silverware the other day with Germany in the Bundesliga with Bayern Munich. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see how that unfolds. But well, let's get into it. Welcome to yet another episode of Mr. Vamos Dissects. For those of you who are new here, it's football, football, football. Maybe a bit of rugby and some sport in it, but that's what we do here. Don't forget, if you're new here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to share. Don't forget to share. We are cooking. We're cooking things a bit. Yeah, things are getting ready. Things are getting ready. But yeah, let's bring the content to you as it is. Well, today we'll be talking about Spurs taking on Man United, rather Man United taking on Spurs, whichever it is, at the Bilbao Stadium in Spain, Santiago Mamez, yeah? Well, it's the first time I put on a Man United jersey in a bit. It's been a minute since I put on a jersey. I think the last time I put on this jersey was, I think, the road to Fort Porto, yeah, when the content was starting. But well, we have a big tie ahead of us. Well, this is going to be a pretty interesting clash. I'm thinking for both of these two sides right now in their camps, they're looking at how do we put an end to a very miserable season. Both of these two sides are going head to head in the Premier League. They follow each other, yeah. It's like Kato and Waswa, yeah. They come following each other in ranks. If you remove the bottom, if you remove the three teams that were relegated, get your Man United and the Spurs that are playing a UEFA Europa League final. Interesting how God does these things, yeah. These are two sides that have been losing together. Last week, Man United lost to West Ham. Spurs went on to lose to, I don't remember who Spurs went on. Spurs went on to lose to Crystal Palace. Man United lost to Chelsea. Spurs went on to lose to Aston Villa. So these guys are, I think they're like, without Kuba Nange Vancouver, they're moving slowly. Yeah, it's really interesting how these guys are playing sports. Yeah, but well, I think I just like to give you guys how these guys start in the Europa League. For starters, Man United is unbeaten in Europe. They've not lost in the Europa League from the first game there. Yeah, the worst thing they've got in the Europa League is a draw. Spurs has lost a few games in there, but it has actually come through. The roadmap for Spurs, I think they managed to offset a Bodo Clement that Man United beat in the group stages. They beat them home and away. Pretty comfortable fixture for them, yeah. And then inside there, they also went on to beat Eintracht Frankfurt. Frankfurt is actually one of those nice sides in Germany that was actually trying to make a name for themselves. Yeah, of course, after releasing Omar Mamouche in there, they've been like trying to see how they can compete in Europe and all that. Yeah, but well, the other day actually they secured qualification to the Europa League now. Yeah, beautiful times for them. So Spurs also actually beat Frankfurt in it. And then, well, for Man United, they were versing Spanish opposition. They went on to offset, I think, Real Sociedad, went on to offset Atletico Bilbao, and then went off to offset Lyon. But for Man United, I think the season starts from that comeback against Lyon. I think it was pretty interesting, like 6 or 7 minutes in that extra time where Man United changed the tie, and I think their confidence begins increasing from there. Yeah, so that's just how these teams got into the finale. I think for the semi-final, it was a clean sweep for both of these two sides. Yeah, if we're talking about these teams in regards to winning silverware, Man United has won silverware, I think, every season. Yeah, that's FA Cup, FA Cup. Spurs and silverware is a thing of, I think they're hearing silverware in rumors and all that. Well, but things could change interestingly. Yeah. I was looking the other day, Harry Kane was on a video call with Huminson and he was telling him about how nice it feels to win silverware. And now Harry Kane is pushing Huminson to come and win silverware. Huminson, on the other hand, has been injured for a long time during this season. Yeah, but he's actually back fit and roaring to go. Yeah. If we're starting from the team matchups in this one, yeah, I think these two sides have been hit by injuries the whole season. Yeah, I think it also somewhat affects or maybe somehow speaks about how their seasons have been going. Spurs went on to lose Madison, he's been in and out. He's been getting injuries all the time. They went on to lose their goalkeeper Vicario, and then they went on to sign Kiminski. They went on to sign a kid from the American League that played a bit, but then I think his football was actually exposed inside that one. But Vicario got back. Huminson is now back. Well, the only problem, there are two central defenders have been in and out of the game, in and out of the team. Yeah, that is Romero and Mickey van der Ven. For Man United players, they all know Mickey van der Ven because he's, I think in the centre backs that we have in the Premier League, he must be among the fastest in that lot. Yeah, very many Man U guys will remember that assist that he did for Brennan Johnson when he ran from their box up to the United box and put in a beautiful assist laid on the plate for Brennan Johnson. Yeah, but those two centre backs have been in and out. Yeah, but interestingly, I think they're back fit. They rested them a bit for the last game against Spurs with a dancer that they brought from Lens who had been partnering a Ben Davis inside that one. I don't think these two guys will get a call up inside that finale inside there. They rested Pedro Porro, who has been very solid on that right wing. Again with Jed Spence. Spence was actually the man of the match the last time Man United played against Spurs. Beautiful display on the right hand there. He busted that whole defense midfield and attacked the whole day. Yeah. In the midfield, their midfield has been up and down. Of course, they have Bissouma. They have a Bentancur who never gets tired of getting injured, but is actually back playing. They have Papasa, who is also in there. They have some kids inside there. Old Bud that was bought from Burnley. And then on the strike, Dominic Solanke is actually back. Yeah, he was injured, but most part of the campaign for the Europa League, he got back scoring goals, which is beautiful to see for a striker that left. I think he sent one of those Man United kids straight to Villarreal the last time they played. I don't even remember the kid's name. Kwambala, Willie Kwambala. And then, of course, Richarlison in and out with injuries and all, but he's actually back fit. I think the only concern that Spurs will be having right now will be maybe Dejan Kulusevski and James Maddison. Yeah, I think those ones will be most definitely ruled out for the final. And maybe Begval, a kid that has been probably coming up, scored a goal against Liverpool in the FA Cup that looked like they were probably going to chase a silverware inside there, and then the second leg didn't go well. Well, Man United, on the other hand, for the goalkeeping department, shambles. Andre Onana is a mistake away from causing problems. Altaiba in there, he's also not cow. I think Man United just needs to change their whole goalkeeping department. But I think Andre Onana gets the nod. And then history has it that Andre Onana has not won any final that he has played in. Yeah? Keep your eyes locked on that one. That's why I said there's a lot of stuff in this tie that only 21st May can sort. Yeah, there's the part where Andre Onana does not win silverware. There's a part where Ange Postecoglou wins trophies in his second season. Yeah, there's a part where Casemiro does not lose European finals. All that is in it. But Man United in the defense, of course, Lenny Yoro got injured 2 weeks ago. Matthias De Ligt is still out injured. I think they will be facing late fitness tests. Diego Dallo is back in training. And then, of course, in the defense, Patrick Dogu is around. Luke Shaw got back playing football recently. Aiden Haven signed from Arsenal, actually got back playing the other week. So we'll be seeing. Maybe Man United has a number of defenders that they might field. All comes down to how Ruben lines up those guys. In the midfield, I don't think they have any fresh injury concerns. Mason Mount is back cooking spots for Man United. Of course, that shirt number 7 is still very heavy to wear, but he's back in it. Manuel Ugarte, Casemiro, I think the midfield pairings is still, maybe that will be the pairing they might use. Those guys have been fit for a while now. Kobe Mino has been back playing. I think you remember the goal he scored against Lyon that almost started the comeback in it. And then, of course, in the striking force, maybe the only absentee that they will have is Joshua Zirkzee, because this team actually has only two strikers, Zirkzee and Højlund. And then, of course, Zirkzee is injured. Yeah, and then there's maybe a Rasmus Højlund who we'll probably talk about more so in the game. So I think for injuries, I think these teams have had very many of their guys coming back. Now let's get to the game on paper. How does this game look like on paper? I think this game on paper, when we're going into how these ties have been moving, Man United last beat Tottenham Hotspurs in 2022. That was goals from Bruno Fernandes and Fred, yeah? That's the last time Man United beat them. Of course, the season before where Ronaldo put in a hat-trick and all. The last time these two sides played in the Premier League, Madison scored a goal where Onana fumbled and put the ball there. Just like I said, Andre Onana is just one mistake away from making the world end, yeah? So in regards to that history, these guys have probably beaten Man United 3 games in a row. Yeah, and then there's that statistic where a team does not lose 4 times in a row. But the tides changed when Barcelona was playing Real Madrid. Barcelona had beaten Real Madrid 3 times in a row. They went on to beat them the fourth time. So I think this season is for changing stuff, yeah. So that's for Spurs. I think coming into this one, they will be very confident, yeah, because these are the Bucheres that we've been beating the whole season. So it will be a game which they're looking forward to playing. So in regards to the players that I expect these two sides to field, when I start from the Man United point of view, I don't think the decision in goal changes. Yeah, Andre Onana starts inside there. Back three, Man United. I think Maguire has gotten his name in the team there. He's probably starting in the middle there. Then probably a Mazuraoui and a Luke Shaw, depending on depending on the availability of maybe Delete. But I just maybe Amorim might be stubborn and play a Victor Lindelof. I don't think Victor Lindelof is a player that's supposed to be playing for Man United. He's just lucky that he doesn't get injuries and all. But I think that's how the back three for Man United lines up. And then, of course, they're probably wanting to run the whole line. Probably get you Patrick Dogu, get you a Casemiro, get you an Ugarte, get you a Fernandez, and then an Amad Diallo on the side. And then, of course, in front, Rashmas Hoyland. Well, just to dive into this whole Rashmas Hoyland thing, I think I've been looking into how Man United went into the FA Cup final and didn't start a final with an out and out nine in Rashmas Hoyland because he was playing Beans by then, and they said Bruno Fernandes is a false nine. I don't know if Ruben Amorim has been watching the videos and all that. Well, Maguire is good when he comes into the box. You'll probably equate him to Mikel Moreno. When Mikel Moreno is in the box, he's like a fox and all that. But, well, it looks like a very tricky bargain, yeah, to put maybe a Maguire because he's probably the only player that can be chipped in as a nine, maybe just to get balls aerially. You know, the goal they cancelled against Chelsea was actually taken with his foot. And I don't think on any day Rashma Soyland converts a chance like that one. But you remember the history of Man United where Marouane Fellaini would be sent to play as a nine just because they're trying to like send balls in the air and all that. I think that's a tactic that works when in the final stages of a game, yeah. But I think Man United is stuck with Rashma Soyland in that number 9 position unless the coach is about to cook different tactics in it. And then for Spurs, automatically Vicario got back into the sticks. I think Vicario is a very beautiful shot stopper, yeah. I think all goalkeepers that are both from Italy are beautiful, are very nice shot stoppers, apart from, of course, Andre Onana. Well, no before, no nothing, but I think he's cost the team a lot of things. But Vicario is a very good shot stopper. And now Vicario is like a Jordan Henderson. When the team has not conceded and the team is a goal ahead, those guys never concede. You saw what Hendo did for Crystal Palace the other day against Man City. That's the same style. So I think in the middle, Spurs normally plays a back four. Yeah, not sure about the fitness of Mickey van der Ven in it. Yeah, but we've not seen Sergio, we've not seen Romero partnering with Danso, the new centre back from Lens. Well, I think Danso is actually like a bully in that defense there, and Romero is actually very aggressive, equated to Lisandro Martinez in that one. So it will be tricky to see who, depending on the fitness. I think Romero partners with Danso. I'm not sure about Mickey van der Ven. And then I think they take a gamble and play Jaden Spence on the right and Pedro Porro on the left, or either side. They might alternate them in there. And now the midfield is where the trick comes through because now I think Spurs has very nice central CDM midfielders in it. You know, when you get a Papasa, you get an Yves Bissouma that can kill you on a day when he's come to work. First, leave that drama that he normally comes and delivers things that are not covered. But when you see Bissouma playing for Mali, you can wonder which kind of player this is. But now they have Bissouma, they have Bentancur, and Papasa. These are three players that can actually sit in the middle there and let James Maddison cook. But James Maddison is out injured. So I think if these three players sit, I think they don't have a lot of industry in them. They can't really break defenses inside that one. That's why they might have probably needed a Bagval, if I get his name right, the kid that got injured, that will probably be like the 10 that's going to be connecting things, yeah? But in between those three guys, I think Bentancur starts with the Papasa in there for you. Maybe Besuma to come and settle things when the game is probably in like the 70s, depending on how the game is moving. And then, of course, on the side, Huminson will be back most definitely. On the right, I think he might start Odegaard, the kid that was bought from Burnley, just to bring in a bit of pace in there, just to disturb the guys in there because, of course, Dejan Kulusevski got injured in there. And then for the strike, it's not even, it's a no-brainer. I think Dominic Solanke gets the nod ahead of Richarlison. But where does this game get one from? I think this game is going to be one from the middle, yeah? If you've been watching the Man United midfield of Manuel Ugarte and Casemiro, these are two aggressive players, American players that know how to take tackles, that know how to take some for the team. If those guys can be awake and combat that Spurs midfield and probably keep things solid in the middle, well, probably releasing a Bruno Fernandes, who take nothing away from Bruno Fernandes, is actually the top scorer of the Europa League, 7 goals in it. I think if he scores 1 goal in the final, he'll most definitely take the boot because he's tied with 2 other players on the boot inside that one. Yeah, but just like I said, if Man United actually gets Casemiro and Ugarte has been shaky recent weeks, but if those two guys can connect properly and lock out that midfield and let Bruno Fernandes cook, then it will be positive for Man United. But then for Bissouma, Bentancur, and Papesa, if they come through and play the low block in the midfield there, and then they probably take out Bruno Fernandes all the time, is trying to look for a through ball or something, then now Spurs gets that one for you. Yeah, I'd like to equate this game to. I'd probably equate this game to like a TYO Mujuma when it's probably hunting for a goal. They get desperate, they get cocky, and then they make a mistake inside that one. So this is maybe the approach that Spurs might use on a Man United side that has actually been hot in Europe. Ruben Amorim came to the other day and said he doesn't know what's happening in the Premier League, but in Europe, the boys are really playing sports. So I think the midfield battles will be very key in this one. And then I think, of course, the number 9 also will have a very big impact. Dominic Solanke, who was playing for Bournemouth last season, I think is actually a number 9 that has established himself. I think if it's not injuries and all that, Dominic Solanke gives you a double figure every single Premier League season. I think he's somewhat trying to replace a Hurricane who has a very sure 20 plus goals every season. Yeah. But Dominic Solanke will be a headache for that Man United defense. I can give you a guarantee on that one. Yeah. But still, it all comes down to how do they unlock him in that one. Man United, on the other hand, I don't think Rasmus Højlund is going to like get all his stinkers and combine them and come and deliver a performance. The last game against Chelsea actually showed that, well, there's nothing about him that shocks you anymore. So in regards to the number 9 that I would pick any day, if I was getting this combined side, I'd get for you Dominic Solanke any day, anytime, any place, anywhere, no questions asked. Yeah. But then I think it will also be interesting from the right wing of Spurs. Yeah. If Spence actually runs on that right wing, it will be interesting because if Spence comes through on a Patrick Dogu, he probably win Patrick Dogu in composure, pace, and maybe brains and all that. Patrick Dogu is still trying to settle into Man United, but remember, he's still lackluster on that final delivery into the box. But if Spence actually patrols that wing properly, the way he did it the last time they played Man United, then there might be good stuff that's coming from the right wing inside there. Yeah. And then, of course, take nothing away from Heung-min coming on to face a Mazraoui on the right with maybe an Amad Diallo. You know, Heung-min has been deadly since he came to Spurs from Bayer Leverkusen. Yeah, this is a player that can sting you at any point in time. Yeah. And then I'd forgotten Tottenham Hotspurs actually have a Matthias Tel. Tel has actually, after making that loan move from Bayern Munich, he's actually flattered the receiver. I've not seen him cook a lot of spots and all that. But I think what he brings to this Tottenham side is that winning feeling. Yeah, Matthias Tel has been winning trophies with Bayern Munich season in, season out. So I think he actually gets a nod in that starting lineup. He might actually be in the front three with Dominic Solanke and Heung-min Son, yeah, because I think he brings in the people in that Spurs team that have won something. He must be one of the guys that has won. So I think he will also bring in something there. He has a bit of industry and a bit of pace and some dribble in him, so it will be problems for them. And then I think Man United, if they can probably get Bruno Fernandes on song in this one, then this tie will be wrapped. In this game, in regards to teams that have been winning and all that, I think just like I said, even all the ex-Man United players and everyone know if this tie is given in regards to European glory and winning things, I think Man United takes this one. But then if we're going by what Ange Postecoglou says about winning things in the second season, then you would back Ange Postecoglou. I watch those dressing room speeches they do after winning games and after going to the final. I watch that dressing room and you get goosebumps when these coaches are speaking their players and putting inspiration in them. But I think this is going to be a hotly contested final. None of these guys are sleeping wherever they are. I think they're watching videos week in, week out. I think leading to this finale, I think it all comes down to how the boys are training. It all comes down to, I think, the meals the boys are doing. I think it also all comes down to the mentality. Well, in Man United, like I said, Casemiro has been a beast in these European competitions. More so when he's been playing against the Spanish sides. There's been like an energy and a fire that has been brought into him, yeah. Very many of you saw that time he got the substitution against Bilbao and then that hug that he gave Amorim. Yeah, those are some of the things that bring goosebumps in that one. So I think in Man United, there are players with the mentality that will want to win this one. But you will not write that Spurs team away, because the last time Spurs played in a final, you know, that time when they had a Lucas Moura and then they went on to beat Ajax to get into the, I think, Champions League final or something. Still Andre Onana and his boys delivering. Man, Onana, when I remember Onana in finals, it just hurts me. Spurs was playing Ajax, they came from 3 goals down, equalized, went through, went to the final. Man United, the very first time they won the Europa League, Man United played against Ajax. Matthias de Ligt captain, Andre Onana in the goal. Doomsday Onana didn't win that for shit. He didn't win that for anything. Forgive the language. So, well, for Spurs, I think they've been to one final that I remember, and they did not really win that final. I think they were playing either Man City or Liverpool. They didn't turn up on that day. So this will be a time for them to maybe try to win a final. Yeah, you saw Crystal Palace winning the final. They was their third time of asking. Yeah, Crystal Palace third time of asking, the same thing as TYM third time of asking. For Spurs, this is probably going to be the first time of asking because they've not been on this stage before. But I think this game all comes down to mentality. Yeah, I'm still looking for someone in Spurs that actually has the mentality to win trophies, and I don't see him in that one. But the only thing I know is that whoever gets into this game and settles in the first 20 minutes will take this tie away. But if it were up to me and I was giving you a prediction, I think Man United has done what it takes in Europe this season to bring this trophy home. Yeah, I think all the other things that they've done in the season will be sorted when the season ends. Yeah, so I think Man United takes this final away from me. I'm giving them the win because of maybe what they're doing in Europe, maybe because the winning mentality that Casemiro brings to the team. I might probably give Spurs this final because of maybe an Andre Onana that does not win things for anything, but most of this is not a game of one person. So if it were up to me, I'd give you guys a Man United win, yeah, because I think this is a trophy that helps them begin to cook sports again. Take nothing away from Spurs and everything that they've cooked. Well, that's just what I think. I don't know what you guys think about it. I don't know what you guys think about how these players match up. I don't know what you guys think about the lineups that you expect. But that's what I think. Vamos, Man United, bring that trophy. I think they really need to bring that trophy. They really need to bring that trophy. Bilbao actually wish them um, good luck in the final after they beat them home and away. So Man United win on that one. We'll be giving you something about Ruben is taking on Chelsea in that Europa Conference final. The last Conference League was won by West Ham. Well, I don't know if the English teams are now going to probably follow up in these ones. And then the UEFA Champions League will be cooking something. PSG taking on Inter Milan in a game that has attack, defense, and a bus. Yeah, we'll be giving you something about what you think on that one. Tell us what you think about the video. Tell us who you think will take it up. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to share. Don't forget to subscribe. Vamos, we go again.